The show is about to begin. Enjoy.
Michael O'Grady, I Creativi.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 12 of Michael O'Grady and the Creatives. This is your host, Michael O'Grady, and today I have a very awesome, special, creative guest. He has pretty much been his whole life an entertainer. He's been in commercial and television. He is a singer-songwriter, a West Coast native. He has a new single out now, which is an awesome song called Your Paradise. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest, Mr. Brett Copeland. What's up, dude?
What's up, brother? How are you, Michael?
Good, man. I'm sick of technology. I'm hanging in. I'm doing the best that I can every day. Every day feels like a week, and every week feels like a month.
That's for sure, man.
Yeah. How are you holding up with everything?
I've been good. I'm holding up in the desert. I don't know if I told you that or not. I've been spending a lot of time in between LA and Joshua Tree.
No, I had no idea. Are you in Joshua Tree right now?
I am.
Oh, no way. Okay. I didn't know if you were in LA or not. I can't tell.
Well, I still live in LA too, so but
Right,
got a
yeah.
place in Joshua Tree to hide out.
Nice. There you go. And for those of you who don't know, and for those of you just listening, if you're not watching the video, we're doing this via Zoom. I'm here in Los Angeles right now, and Brett is in Joshua Tree, which seems like a good thing to do right now, considering I know how I feel right now is that I want to get the hell out of LA. Like, I really want to get out of town. Like, I'm going a little stir crazy.
Man, I mean, it's got to do that already, like a couple times a year when there is no COVID. So
Right.
when it hit, I was just like, I'm out, pretty much.
So yeah, so you got this song "Your Paradise," which I was fortunate enough to play with you live. I
Yeah,
think
that's right.
we did a bunch of your songs at the Viper Room. I want to say it was in February. No, was it, or is it January? I don't remember when it was, but I know it was like one of the last few gigs I played before COVID happened. It was right around that tail end, and we got to play songs like "Your Paradise," "Lasso the Stars," and I'm blanking on the other one. I can't think of it right now. What was the oh? What was the song that you
It's the
weren't
one
sure?
you picked.
It's the one I picked.
Yeah, you're like, come on, I wanted to put the other one in, and you're like, no, we got to do Don't Fight It.
Don't fight it. That's right. That's what it was. I remember that was a big debate of going like, should we do this one? Should we not do this one? I don't know. Like, da 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 da.
You crushed it that night.
That was so much fun. We got to. So for those of you who don't know, so before COVID, we had this Monday night jam session thing called the Sunset Jam at the Viper Room, and it's been going on there for I think like 3 years now. And most of the time we just get sent songs like, hey, you're going to play this, hey, you're going to play that. And then you just, you work on it on your own time. And then you just show up and we do it. But every now and again, the guy who runs it, Eric Himmel, he'll let, somebody like an artist like yourself come up and like do basically like a mini set, like 4 or 5 songs. So we kind of get like a chance to like rehearse it, go over everything. And it was really cool how we got together and we rehearsed it, because then it was just, we got on stage, we went like, bam, 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 a 1, 2, 3, 4 punch, and then we were like basically out of there. And it was really tight. It was a lot of fun. I remember that was a fucking blast, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you playing.
Of course, anytime, always. So what's going on with Your Paradise?
Your Paradise is getting traction. We've been on over maybe like 100 playlists on Spotify, which is great.
Nice.
And so far, I think it's close to 20,000 streams. It's got some cool artwork, and it's a real cool song. It's pretty much being labeled as indie rock, which I've never been labeled before as indie rock.
Not, what would you consider it?
I
Just
would
rock?
definitely it has an indie feel, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And
It's
if you're,
rock.
it's rock, yeah. I know it's always weird when somebody gives a label to songs and like bands and genres, and you're like, I don't think of myself like this. You know what I mean?
This time around, I actually asked a bunch of people out of curiosity. 'Cause you know how the suits always ask you, well, name a band you could tour with, or who do you sound like? Everyone asks that, and that's
Right.
just that's how people are, and that's fine. That's how we kind of make judgments and assessments. So I asked quite a few people, and I got everything from YouTube, Muse, Velvet Revolver,
Yep.
maybe even like the Struts. It was weird. You know, everybody hears something different.
Yeah, and it's also too, it comes down to what they know and what their influences, I feel like, are. You know what I mean? So that's what you go, oh, I like it, and I like it because it reminds me of this, that, or the other thing. And I think if it was your Paradise, and forgive me because you sent this to me a long time ago, you asked me that question. You were like, what does it remind you of?
Right.
And I think I might have mentioned something like, yeah, Velvet Revolver, you know, Stone Temple Pilots, that kind of, even though that's like, you know, Scott Weiland, because, and for those of you who don't know, like, Brett has like a very, well, he's a fucking badass rock and roll singer. He can sing anything anyway, but it's like this, it's literally like, I can definitely see the lineage of like the Scott Weiland, Jim Morrison, Axl Rose, like those type of frontmen. It's like very big show, very big powerhouse vocals. And like when we played a Velvet Revolver song at the Ultimate Jam. I think
Right.
yeah, at the end of 2019. And that's like, I was like, that's perfect for your voice. Is that something that when you go in as a singer, are you feeling like I'm singing like Brett, or I'm kind of channeling Scott Weiland or Jim Morrison? Like whenever you get a song that you have to go and perform, are you thinking and feeling all those kind of things? Like
I
what
never
was
channel.
No, really?
I never channel. And I, you know, the Scott Weiland, rest in peace. He was a fantastic artist, timeless. I actually, I auditioned with Velvet Revolver.
Are you
Uh,
serious?
yeah.
I did not
And,
know that.
oh yeah, it was cool. I have an interesting connection with Scott. A lot of his former bands have talked to me, and I've sang with, you know, some of them, including Velvet Revolver.
Right.
And at that point, even I don't channel anybody ever. I'm just myself, but I do study the vocal techniques,
Oh,
and
okay.
I was definitely blown away. People kind of consider Scott to have this baritone, but he's not. He's a tenor. You know, he
Oh,
had the baritone, but he's got a very smooth, silky voice. Same with, you know, I can say I channeled one time a little bit. We just did this 27 Club at the Troubadour.
yeah.
And I was supposed to be Jim Morrison, and I never. The channel maybe his dress that night, the way his clothes, the big belt. And
Right.
everything. I go up on stage, I do my thing, and people be like, "Oh man, you remind me so much of Jim Morrison, or you remind me of Scott Weiland."
Right.
I, it's like what you said. That's what they can relate to,
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
but I
Well,
never.
and the other thing about it too is I think like I don't know if you've ever had this before, and I stage presence, what you do. Some people want to think about it and analyze it, or I've had students that I've taught before and have parents ask me to help their kids with stage presence, which is totally normal, especially since they're kids, and it's a very nerve-wracking thing. But sometimes it comes down to this point where it's like it gets to a certain area where they go, can you teach them how to move on certain parts and do this, that, and everything? And I go, yeah, like I can kind of go, this is maybe what I would do. But at the end of the day, if it's too choreographed or it has to be taught, you probably really don't have it, because people will pick up on that. They won't buy it. They'll be like, what's this guy trying to do? You know what I mean?
Very true.
Then
A
you're like
lot
a
of the
borderline
times,
cover band.
a lot of times I'll see video and I'll be like, I don't know who the fuck that guy is. I don't know who that is. Me, you know. But
Right.
it's almost like you go into the spirit world. Like you said, I'm pretty big on stage, very, very big personality.
Yeah.
And that's not really who I am off stage.
Right.
I could be sick or tired, but the minute it's time to go up, something just clicks and it becomes something, you know, huge. And
Yeah.
that's what really sets me free. And I think when that happens, the audience gets super excited, and then you have this constant synergy.
Right. Yeah, and that's
But
what I mean by like that's something that almost I feel can't be taught. And you just see
great.
people on stage, and it's like I think the funny thing about it too is when you even when you feel like you have an off night, it's not nearly as bad as you think it is. Especially if you watch like footage back, you're like, oh, that was okay. Even though in that moment you didn't feel great, but if you know how to
Yeah,
camouflage that, you know what I mean? And like you said, if you're like, I'm sick, I don't feel good, this adrenaline kicks in. That for that couple of minutes that you're on stage, whether it's for one song or like a whole set, it's almost like you're not sick.
absolutely. It's medicine. It really is. And then
Yeah.
if it's like one of those 2-hour sets, by the last two songs, I'm like going harder than ever. It's exercise. I used to drink before shows,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't even do that anymore because if you were gonna go run a mile, say, would you drink before you run a mile? Probably not. Maybe you would. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
it's the same thing, man. I just try to be as physically fit as possible up there and be on top of my game. And,
Right.
when I was a little kid, we all had the family weddings we went to, and I mean, I was in first and second grade, and I would always beg the house band at the wedding, can I come up and sing a song at the banquet or whatever function was happening for the wedding? I would always beg to go up there and sing a number. It's in my blood.
Yeah. That's it. So let me ask you that then. Is that how you got started, or was there something precursor to that you were just always like, I'm a singer, I'm going to be on stage, I'm going to sing songs? What was the bug that bit you? What was the thing that made you go, oh, I'm going to do that?
I just started singing since I can remember, and I would always sing for my mom. I dressed up like the Rhinestone Cowboy and sing to her on her cassette tapes. And
Right.
then I went to Catholic school most of my life. I was in the choir.
Mm-hmm.
I was always in the church choir. And then I went to elementary school off the coast of Seattle, and they had an hour before school on this island I lived on. And it would be an hour of singing, and I just loved it. And I've always been a singer. And until recently, people used to come up to me a lot and say, man, I love your voice, I love your voice, but I never understood why. So only about 3 years ago did I actually start to really study voice intensively.
Really? No
Yeah.
shit. Wow. Could have fooled me, because that's like, I mean, it's, and the other thing too is like, you're coming into this, like, you'd say like, yeah, you're like a rock singer, right? That's fair to say.
Yeah.
For the most part, or mainly, or forte, or whatever. Now, is that something, I think, to the general public, there's probably a lot of people that don't realize how many great rock singers are either classically trained or have taken voice lessons their whole life or whatever. And then there's some that you would think that, oh, they're trained. And you're like, no, they've never taken a lesson in their life. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things I always found funny and hilarious that you would never know. I, grew up in the 90s, and, one of the kings at the time was Green Day. And later in life, I learned that Billy Joe Armstrong is a classically trained singer. Like, he's
Nice.
been singing, doing lessons his whole life since he was like a little kid. And when you listen to that kind of music, you go, that doesn't sound like somebody who's trained. Like, it just doesn't, because it's not nice. It's punk rock. It's whiny. It's this, but he knows what he's doing. You know what
Right.
I mean? And you're like surprised to go like, oh, he actually knows technique. He actually knows this. He actually knows that. He does warm-ups. Da, 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 da. And like you said, like, your voice is your instrument, and you got to take care of it. Like, you wanted down a couple of beers before you went on a run, because you got to have the endurance.
There comes a time when you have to definitely take it more seriously,
Right.
you know. So
So like, what was I gonna ask you? Oh shoot, I had it like a little bit ago. I know I forget and everything. Um, well, oh, I remember now. What? as far as like after, you know, you're doing the Rhinestone Cowboy and everything. And everybody, Brett still is the Rhinestone Cowboy. You can catch him in Vegas. I'm kidding. No. He's like, it's COVID, baby. I got to make the money, man. I got to.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for a Rhinestone Cowboy. It might be Brett. Spinning like those signs, you know, for, you know, hotels and casinos. No, but after all that and everything, growing up a little bit, what was like the, I don't know, what was the band? What was the artist? What was the music that made you go, fuck, that's my jam. Like, that's my shit. Like, I love that.
That's a great question.
What popped your cherry?
Well, I mean, at first, before I really got deep into music, I was, you know, and still am a real heavy reader, poetry and literature. So that all started first with the lyrics before the music.
Oh, okay.
And then I gotta be like most people, you know, Guns N' Roses was up there,
Yeah.
you know, and because I had an older sister. So even before that, there was like, I wouldn't call them influences at all, but I remember like listening to her, listening to Van Halen, or whatever those, let's see, it was like Van Halen, or I remember Oingo Boingo and Twisted Sister, all of her, my older sister's songs. I thought, you know, wow, this is interesting stuff. And then Billy Idol, you know, I remember listening to his lyrics and thinking, wow, this guy's really cool. But then the Colts and Guns N' Roses came around, and that's when it became more like, wow, you know, everybody kind of fell in love with the Guns N' Roses. Like, that's a real band.
Right.
It wasn't until later in life that I get introduced to the classics before them, like the Doors or Led Zeppelin. Or,
Right. Yeah.
and I'll never forget when I first heard "Smells Like Teen Spirit." I walked up to this guy who was playing in his car at a gas station. I was like, who the fuck is this? I thought it was the loudest, most powerful thing I ever heard.
Something like Smells Like Teen Spirit still has so much dominance as far as like when you, like, I teach kids, and when they hear it for the first time, you know, that impact, like it's a brand new song that just came out. It's so cool.
Yeah.
That song's just, there's just so many songs and so many artists that all that stuff will just always hold up. You know what I mean?
I'd like to ask you a question, you know, as a 90s kid. You know, every generation does say, well, my generation was the best generation, you know.
Right.
My music of the generation. But I personally feel that the 90s was the last great musical generation because of the age of the internet and the auto-tune and
Right.
all the accessibility, and people didn't have to rely on their talents as much. And I just personally feel like that was the last great decade or era.
Right.
What do you think?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Is it a hard cutoff at 1999?
No, that's when things started to get a little fucked up, though.
Right. Okay. So.
Not all of it, of course. There's always
No,
great.
right. No, I know what you mean. It's funny that you do ask that kind of question, because when I think about it now, and a lot of stuff that I've had to do, because as a musician and a working musician playing guitar, I've had to learn so much material. You know, when it comes to like, I have to learn like an Etta James song, and then I have to learn a Sum 41 song. Like, it's like, what the hell? I noticed one thing in particular is, to me, when I think of the 90s grunge and just those rock bands, right? Whether it be Weezer or Stone Temple Pilots or Nirvana or, you know, whatever, Sublime, all that stuff. Foo Fighters, you know, even them, because, you know, towards the late 90s, I go, there's something dark and heavy about it, and just the tone and the feel and the subject matter, like you were saying with like the lyrics, everything kind of just seems like it's a very, very heavy, real thing, maybe minus Sublime. But, and then when I look back and I've had to do other material that's like the early 2000s, I become so overwhelmed with like this happiness and this joy because
Right.
some of the they were like the silly pop punk bands who did not take themselves seriously. So the scale kind of tipped. Do you know what I mean? That's how I feel.
Absolutely.
So I like both because I love real, Pearl Jam or whatever and da 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 da. But then it's like, no, I want to listen to like the stupid Blink 182 shit. Now, granted, that's when I was in high school, and it was like, Blink 182, Green Day, and then thank God for Velvet Revolver. You know what I mean? And stuff like that.
Well, that's great rock album.
That was like what, 2004, 2003, I think Contraband was. And we should definitely, if whatever you want to talk about with that, because I want to know about that. So when I think about it, I love both because I need to feel silly and I need to feel those, I love playing songs like All the Small Things, where it's just 3 chords and the music videos are silly and it just puts you in like in a good mood. So I don't know if I would say like 90s is the last, but maybe like up until the early 2000s. But I might be biased because I was in high school, and that I think is probably everybody's nostalgic cutoff.
Absolutely.
For the most part, you know what I mean. So I don't know. Like, I got to do a '90s gig at the end of this month. Actually, I got a social distant gig coming up. It's been like 6 months.
Nice.
And you know what? I don't know why. Let me ask you this question: Weezer. What is it? The Blue album? The one, I can look it up. Is it the Blue album or the Green album? Whichever has Buddy Holly on it and the Sweater song.
Right. Never got it, man.
It, for some reason, my mind thinks that it's the 2000s. That came out in 1994.
Wow.
Did you think that, or is that weird to you to think that way? That it's
yeah, that is true, man. That band is very talented, but I just don't get that band, Even though their most recent album that's like all over Spotify right now is like heavy metal almost.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I know. No, I'm not saying like, yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, the Blue album that has Undone, Sweater Song, Buddy Holly, and Say It Isn't So, that came out in 1994, and to me, it just doesn't sound like 1994. I don't know why. My mind thinks it's probably 2004.
They're definitely they were ahead of their times. I don't necessarily love the content, but they're definitely
right.
Tones were different.
They were one of those bands for me that I wasn't into when they were really popular and around, and I was growing up in my adolescence of music. Because I was like I listened to like AC/DC and Guns N' Roses and Led Zeppelin. And that was like, you know what I mean? While everybody was doing the whole pop punk shit, I was like, no, I want to play like blues and rock and roll.
Right.
I didn't write songs that were like that, like Simple Plan or Under Oath or that heavy metal, stuff. I wrote things that were like, I'm a kid in Ohio writing songs called like Stripper Bar Blues. And you're like, what the fuck am I talking? I'm like 16 years old. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I thought Guns N' Roses in California and all that shit was so cool. So that's what, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
I wasn't wearing Vans and high socks and shorts. I was wearing, skinny blue cutout jeans with the, the knee cut and then like the metal bracelets and like I think I even had a fedora at one point.
Holy shit. I was a jock, man.
You were a jock?
I was a jock. And I was actually, though, like my football team, those guys were in a band with me. So we got to do both.
No shit. What'd you play in football? What was your position?
I played running back. I played cornerback. I received all the kicks. I was never off the field, actually.
No shit. And so the guys in the on the football team they also played music with you as well?
Yeah, they were my first gig actually in high school in a rock band was with the whole football team. And it was like off to a rocky start. Actually, I guess this All-State center who was our bass player had a problem with someone at the party I didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
We played the party, and then I got out of the party. I was by myself. And all these dudes surrounded me. I was like, well, what's the problem? I was guilty by association.
Right, yeah.
So the next thing I know, I'm on my knees and there's like blood everywhere, and some dude hit me in the back of the head with brass knuckles. It was just a mess. But that was my inoculation into rock music.
That was your first like rock gig?
That was my first rock gig.
Holy shit. That's welcome to rock and roll.
Exactly.
And you don't know how it happened or why it came about or whatever.
They just had a problem, and then these kids were punks, and they took it out on me because I was, the small, skinny singer, and
Right.
time. They were the linemen. I was the running back.
And they're like, okay, we can take that guy. That's
Yeah,
an unfair fight. A
that's
couple
what happened.
against. Oh my god, what was the band name? Do you remember?
151.
That's a good band name.
Named after Bacardi.
I was gonna say that's exactly what I thought of. Yeah, let's just call
I didn't
it.
name it.
That's rock and roll. Like, let's name it after a vodka or whiskey, a Bacardi.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a good band. The guys were really good.
Yeah, I've had some very terrible band names in my time, and I'm always bummed about it. But when I hear like a good band, I mean, that's a good band name, 151. Plus, numbers never don't not work for bands. How many number bands are out there? There's a shitload.
Yes, there are.
You got U2, 3 Days Grace,
311.
311, Blink
Eve
182.
6.
What's Eve 6? Matchbox 20. Oh my God! Now I'm starting to blank.
Too many.
There's too many. Yeah. So you get inaugurated into rock and roll by brass knuckles to the back of the head. There's a song name or an album title in there somewhere, like Brass Knuckles to the Back of the Head.
Yeah,
There's something there.
I got a lot of stories like
I did love. I don't think this isn't. Oh my God, I'm trying to think of the name. It was on the tip of my tongue just now. Anyway, whatever. So let me ask you this then. Okay, so we have the new single, "Your Paradise."
Your Paradise.
Is it like your paradise, or is it like, hey, your paradise, buddy? Like, what are you trying to say?
Well, I try never to interpret my songs to people.
Oh.
However, there is like a backstory. It's kind of the mixture, a combination, a dichotomy of somebody who's coming from a very dark, confined, even incarcerated place.
Mm-hmm.
Who's experiencing physical and psychological torture, and then being freed, liberated, and thrust into a Dionysian Los Angeles paradise. But
Right.
they're both very similar in that they possess extremes that are a bit twisted.
Yeah. So like when you're, I mean, and not to give away the song or anything, but I guess, would it be like when you're writing a song like this, does like a story come to you? Does the tagline for the chorus come to you? How does like your writing process to go? Or is it just like a nugget that falls out of the sky and you're like, oh, I got something?
Well, hold on.
Hold on, folks.
Everybody, hold on. So if you're talking musically, I picked up this keyboard right here. And I was just looking for something new that I hadn't done for a while, and I started going,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote the riff, and then I ended up kind of piecing everything one note at a time.
No.
Every single thing was done by one note at a time.
Wow.
And lyrically, the lyrics just come, man.
No shit. So yeah, this song is because of the Yamaha keyboard.
$20 Yamaha keyboard.
Yeah, it just comes out of nowhere. Yeah, I know that's the one really great thing I love about um, with being a musician and a writer. Because I mean, I like to write ideas down, but then I never come up with like full ideas. I will get like a little nugget of something or whatever like that. And when I was like playing in more bands before, I would always come into like a rehearsal space, and I always liked either the spontaneity of coming up with something just because you're in the room with people. You know,
Right.
there's that element where I go, I don't think I would have been able to come up with that, or it would have been as good doing it on my own. Or if I get like a little idea for something, it's like, oh, hold on, let me put this down here real quick. Like let me lay it down. I'll record it like on my iPhone, and it's because it's most of the time it's because I'm working on something else, and I'll go, oh, wait a minute, or I'll mess it up, and then I'll go, well, wait, that sounds like a different song now. That sounds like I can take this somewhere, you know?
Yeah. It comes from all over. It comes from so many places, you know.
Right.
A lot of lyrics for me. I'll hear a phrase or I'll read something out of a book or a concept and then, you know, if the song is a keeper, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, one you're definitely going to record. I take it with me and I obsess over it. And a lot of the times, like I'll be taking a hot bath and I have to jump out. A lot of lyrics kind of finish themselves in the bathtub.
Right.
But you know that, you know, Lord, remember Lord?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, here's an example, and I think I kind of abide by a similar thing. And I'll give you two examples, and I agree with 100%. Lord, who's from, I don't know if it's Scotland, but she's European. She came across a Brett Saberhagen baseball card where she was living in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and Brett Saberhagen played for the Kansas
The
City
City
Royals.
Royals. Yeah.
And that is what spawned that whole entire song.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't
And
know
then I
that.
heard, yeah, and then you know Caleb from Kings of Leon. I think his name's Caleb.
Caleb, yeah, Caleb Followa.
He said that he hurt his elbow.
Yep.
And
I know.
he
Yeah.
was. You heard that story?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All he could do was play that riff, whatever that thing he's doing,
Yeah.
because that's all he could do with the sling. And he came up with this riff. And then he said, you know, I'll paraphrase. He's like, I consider myself a really great lyricist and songwriter, and this is one of our most popular songs, if not our most popular song. He said, I don't know what the fuck "Sex on Fire" means. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I know it's a really fat, yeah, because he broke his arm and he could only like position one way, and he, like you said, came up with that riff, and then I think he's one of those people. He's notoriously known for not wanting to do hits or whatever, or when they were like, this is going to be a successful song, and he was just like, what the fuck is this? Like I remember watching an interview where he's like, I don't know, it just came
Right.
to me, and it's just you interpret it, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love the thing about Lord with the Royals. That's
That's
so
pretty
cool. Yeah, it's great when you have something like that it's because of an accident, or like you said, like all of a sudden something will just pop in your head, like if you're like in the shower, in the bathtub, and you're like, oh wait, there's something there.
That's the seed.
Yeah, and then you keep like going with it.
Speaking of like, it smells like Teen Spirit, I saw him in an interview saying the same thing. They're in the garage or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Some girl wrote, Kurt smells like Teen Spirit on the wall, and you know.
Yeah, because it was like a woman's deodorant, Teen Spirit. Yeah, and that's it. There you go. There's the line. And now it's a part of our pop culture.
It sure is. I like to collaborate. I love to collaborate. We've got a song we've kind of been meddling with. And for me, when that seed sometimes is forced upon me, like if somebody gives me a song and they have a title already, but it's just music, probably 90% of the time, I'll run with that title.
Yeah. And that's good because, like, I mean, I was taught a long time ago to, like, when I write a song, give it a title. Just don't call it song 1, 2, 3, song A, da 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 da, because then you're gonna forget, or you're not gonna like, and it's not gonna start that seed and give you that idea. What are we doing right now?
Say hi.
Hi, who am I saying hi to?
I'm just putting you on my story.
Oh, cool. I'm making the story from the podcast. Hi, everybody. I'm here with
What's the
Brett
name of the
Copeland.
podcast?
The name of the podcast is Michael O'Grady and the Creatives.
Shit, I missed that part. But sorry, we got you.
Let's do it again. Take 2.
Okay, let's try it again. Hold on. Let's do it. What up, Michael?
What up, everybody? How are you?
What's the name of your podcast?
The name of the podcast is Michael O'Grady and the Creatives. You can get it on all streaming services, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. So, we get more numbers and we look cooler.
Got it.
Sweet. Yeah. So let me ask you about, so with your Paradise, how was that? You came up with the idea with the keyboard and everything, and then you start kind of running with it. And where did you record it? How did this song come to life?
That's a interesting question. There was a lot of drama associated with this song.
Uh-oh.
So originally recorded it with a great producer who that part didn't work out because it just wasn't exactly what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it instead to, speaking of Velvet Revolver, Matt Sorum's got a really killer studio in West Hollywood, right by the Beverly Center. And my
that
good friend,
explains why I've seen him in that area.
there you go.
I've seen him there, and since I've lived in Los Angeles, I've seen him there at least probably 4 times. I'm like, that's Matt Sorum, and it's by the Beverly Center. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Were you at Kings Road or something?
Yeah, right there. Yeah, exactly. That in that neck of the woods. Is that where his studio is?
That's where his studio is. Very cool studio called Drac Studios, and my friend is actually the head of the whole studio and the engineer. It's called Drac. It's named after an old dog of his.
Oh, is it off of the main road? Is it on a side road, or is it on Beverly?
It's a back house off the side road.
Oh, gotcha. So you want to know it's there?
No.
You know how many times I've probably passed it and not even know it? Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's all good. So, so we took it back to Drac, and I got Ramon from Grandson.
Yeah, we love Ramon.
This is what I hear. Here's the demo, and I got Richard Bradley from Dead Posey. He's a real great friend of mine, and I got Daniel Curcio, who's an amazing player, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on my birthday. We went in there on my birthday, and I've recorded a lot of songs at Matt's studio and with Chad, but this one was just effortless, man. It just, everything flowed, and Ramon brought out his baritone guitar, and that really kind of just took it over the top, man.
Right.
And then...
no, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay, after you.
No. I was just saying, that's fucking rad. That's awesome. That's it.
Yeah. It was good times. Great studio. I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, it's called Drag, D-R-A-G.
Drac, D-R-A-C.
Oh, D-R-A-C, sorry. Like short for Dracula, almost, it sounds like.
Yeah, but I think his name was just Drac. The dog.
The dog's name. The owner of the studio. Not Matt Sorum, or?
Matt Sorum.
Matt Sorum's dog's name was Drac.
That's correct. He's got
I misheard that the first time. I apologize.
Yeah, all good.
So, and then, yeah, so the song's out now. And for anybody just listening or watching and listening, you should go and stream it, listen to it on, what's it on? iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff?
Everywhere, yeah. I prefer they listen on Spotify and follow me on Spotify.
Well, yeah, everybody do that too. Follow him on Spotify and stream it. Just put it on loop and everything. And it's such a banger, like all those songs too. Are the other songs released right now? I haven't had a chance to check lately.
Yep, they're released and we're all done back too.
Those are all done. So like Lasso of the Stars, Your Paradise. What else is out on your Spotify?
Or Don't Fight It.
Don't Fight It.
And then another song that wasn't done at Drac, it was done at the producer's named Val Garay.
Mm-hmm.
He's very famous. He's got like 100 gold records. He's got a Grammy for Betty Davis Eyes. He worked on We Are the World. He's worked with Dolly Parton and Queen. And he's a great, amazing, amazing producer as well. We did a song called Widowmaker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that one. That's a great song.
Yeah, that's a killer one. I did that one. He's one of the top, like, I say 4 producers I've ever worked with.
Nice.
He had an amazing thing where if he's got a mic, right? And in the mic, he's got the phone like yours. But in the phone, he cuts a hole in it. And he makes you stick your nose and sing the entire time with your face pressed up against that fucking mic with your nose in the phone. And I'd be like, come on, Val, I gotta do this. He's like, nose in the phone. He's like, Lionel Richie did it, Elton John did it, you gotta do it. And you literally sang that was with Fire, that originally, but Widowmaker was mine. Originally, you had to sing with your nose in the phone the whole entire time.
Why?
He said it has the resonance. He's like, that's the only way you can actually capture the true resonance of the body.
No shit. I have never heard of this.
I probably shouldn't give away a secret, but I can't be the only one.
Oh my God. Let me know if we got to cut that part out later. Because I might have to make that a highlight clip. I've never heard of that before, ever.
Highlight clip. It's cool.
Yeah, wow. Is that like a little recording, a vocal recording secret? Little trick.
A trick, you know. I've learned quite a few tricks from producers. That's a trick. Another guy I worked with was Dave Jordan, who I don't know if he did Alice in Chains' Facelift, Alice in Chains' Dirt, Jane's Addiction, first 2 albums. He did the Rolling Stones. I mean, he's epic.
Right.
He said with Mick Jagger, he did a whole Stones album that he had to put throw rugs in the whole studio at I think they were at Transformer. I don't know where they did it actually, because Mick had to have that mic in his hand. Where most producers are static, like Val was the opposite. You had to have your nose in that thing. Mick Jagger had to run around all over the fucking place singing while recording. So he had to put the rugs down all over the vocal booth.
So it wouldn't pick up on him going.
Yeah, it was not a booth. It was a room.
Right. So he can get that Mick Jagger, how Mick Jagger is Mick Jagger. That kind of whole. I've heard that. I mean, I think I heard that about AC/DC, like one of their first recordings, and they were really trying to capture the vibe. And the producer, whoever they worked with at the time, this was before I think it was Mutt Lange, before Highway to Hell and Back in Black, that he was just like, because I think they were just tracking like how a band would track in the studio, where you sit down, you know, and you're really tight and you're polished. But he's like, that's not AC/DC. He's like, I want you to play like it's a live concert. That's how we're gonna get. You know, I want you to run around like crazy. I'm sure everything got fixed at some point, but just to capture something, to give it that. And all that stuff is really fucking cool to me. I love all that kind of stuff. And that's what I got excited about with music. And then it's like the way things are nowadays is on, you know, I mean, technology is great, but it can suck a lot of the feeling out, you know?
That's what I was saying about the 90s being the...
Right, okay.
And I even asked these producers I've worked with, did you guys, like Man in the Box, that album, or Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking, or Dirt, or I'd be like, or even I worked with Roy Thomas Baker. We were working together for a couple of years. He did Bohemian Rhapsody, you know?
Wow.
And I asked all of them, did you guys ever use a click? And they all said, no, half my artists couldn't even play to a click.
They're not studio musicians.
Oh, they create their own time signature as a band.
Yeah.
And once we got these laptops, and once we didn't have to, you know, get so good that somebody would give us the opportunity to go into a gazillion-dollar studio to record this stuff, they could just do it to the grid right here. They would do that. You had to be great.
Yeah.
Like when you think about like Appetite for Destruction, like that's some unbelievable singing, you know.
Yeah. And Slash he redid all of his parts once he got that Les Paul knockoff. He recorded everything at first with an SG.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So think about that. Think about the way that record sounds. And you know, as a musician, you don't record everything the exact same way each take, unless you're, Josh Freese or you're, David Foster or whatever. And that perfection, that's great. I mean, there's some very prolific, almost savant type of people who are very just proficient at being a musician or whatever it is. But I always gravitated towards shit that was just a little sloppy. And at the time, I didn't know it was sloppy. I didn't know that there was something in the air that made Led Zeppelin 2 sound like Led Zeppelin 2.
Right.
Or when you hear Stone Temple Pilots, like the older I get, the more I appreciate what they've done. Because when you hear something like, am I thinking of Plush? Ba-da, da, 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 ba, da, 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 do, 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 right? Like when you hear that, you're just like, it hits me in such a way, and I'm like, there's no way that was perfect. And on top, you know what? Like on a grid, on a snap. Okay, this is the tempo. It's not the same thing. It's got a little bit of a wave and a pull to it.
My buddy plays bass in Dirty Honey. I don't know if you know Justin.
Oh yeah. I've bumped into Justin so many times at auditions.
Oh, cool. Great. We just put a song together, actually, a killer song together.
No shit. Yeah. I've always ran into him at acting auditions. Actually, that's how I met Justin.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, they just did an Aerosmith cover with, I'm trying to remember his name. He did the Rival Sons albums.
Okay. I know of Rival Sons, but I'm not too familiar with their work.
Okay, well, he's a great producer. He's in Nashville, and they did this Aerosmith cover, and he didn't have the music click. They thought it was so cool. He told me it was so rare to not be, chained to that click track.
Right.
They're still out there, but it's few and far between. I think possibly one of the reasons is remixes. It's like.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and I know it's a very strange thing. And I've talked to musicians about this before. I've talked to MD, excuse me, burping in the microphone here.
Cut that part out.
Yeah. No, I'll leave it. It's all raw and real. We're not snapping to a grid and being perfect here. I want people to see just how shitty I'm running things here. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not even wearing pants or underwear underneath this shirt.
Neither am I. I haven't worn any pants on any episodes. No, I'm kidding. I've worn pants and everything. However, though, because of all this COVID shit and everything, I literally, I didn't realize this, but I've been wearing. We had that heat wave just recently, and my fucking AC broke. My AC broke on the heat wave, and I couldn't believe it. And it was hot. You know how it's like it gets hotter in the house than it does outside?
I'm up here in Joshua Tree. I know exactly what
you know what I mean? Like it just sits there, and like the temperature outside was like at the time it was like 90, and I looked at my thermostat and it said like 92, and I'm like, okay. And what was my point to all this? No, COVID, not wearing pants. I just was in like cut off t-shirt and like gym shorts and maybe no underwear sometimes, and I'm just going like, why am I so tired and lazy? I don't feel like doing shit. My mind is just swamp and it's just nothing. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's because I need, number one, the AC needs to be fixed. And plus, because of COVID, it's like, I probably should put pants and socks and shoes on, because then you get a little bit more alert, that feeling where you're like, oh, now I'm awake in the world.
You gotta keep it together, man. You gotta keep that shit together.
Right, yeah. But I always talk about this, like, if I record like a demo, which I've sent you like, demos before and stuff, and I'll record the drums where I snap them on a grid on GarageBand, because I can kind of just, I was a drummer first, and I can kind of go, okay, I wanted to do this, that, and the other thing. And I quickly realized that, like, it's not bad as a demo to say, hey, let's check this out. You get the idea. But when I record the other instruments to it, I will make sure that there is no click, and I'll just record to that drum that I put down. And I started to notice, which in weird way, again, I'm not like a producer, I'm not technically advanced with technology and GarageBand to where it would be so easy for me, but I did start to notice, like, when I would make drums and I would change the velocity and I would move it just a hair over off of that downbeat or off of that specific beat at certain spots, it started to sound better. And I was like, what? I was like, so essentially I'm making it more sloppy, and I'm going, oh, now it's starting to get closer to what a real drummer would be like.
Give it a swing.
Yes, exactly. It's granted it's not that, but that's what started making me go. That's what made me start to really hate doing that, because I just like working with people. I like, but here's the other thing. This is what drives me crazy, is that I go, do we think that because we grew up a certain way and we had a certain path? If a certain other kid from wherever in the United States or the world grows up listening because his mom and dad, let's say, listen to electronic music, and he just grows up with that drum machine, those electronic synth sounds, everything is perfect. To him, that might be music, and
I
it's
think
not gonna bother him the same way it would bother maybe somebody like you and I. Does that make sense?
it totally does. I think that the ears today are accustomed to the grid. But I also believe that vocals and drums are the most primal instruments, and they're the first two instruments.
Definitely. Yeah.
You don't need, you can clap and you can sing. You're born with it. And when that human factor happens, they might be used to the click and the grid, but when they finally hear the real drum, and I think it
Right.
probably hits them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's a bunch of videos now of like kids where it says like these two kids react to Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
These two kids react to U2's I can't think of a U2 song right now. Their Streets Have No Name. And they're like, what the fuck is this? This is amazing. And it's funny, sometimes they're kind of like, do other people know about this? And you're like, yeah, it's like a really popular. Dude, I just started watching a Frank Sinatra documentary. I don't know if I'm going to get through it because it's quite long. I only got through like one episode. And I was never a big Frank Sinatra person. I didn't grow up with that kind of, in my repertoire. But just even watching a little bit and hearing that dude's voice, and you find out he was like 21 or 22 at the time.
Yeah, he had a great voice.
And you're like, he sounds like he's 50. But it's you can't deny that that's a real human being, and it has a certain gravitas, would that be the word? Pulls you in, that you go, oh, that's pain, that's joy, that's anger, that's this, that you're screaming like in rock. That's one of my favorite things. Like you're such a good vocalist with shit like that, being able to like rip and soar and go off in that kind of a type of thing. And you're right, it's very primal. And when you get to do that, I mean, fuck, there's nothing better.
That's what happens with me on stage or in the studio. It's like you work so hard to be such a great singer, but if I'm having an off night, say a vocal not where I want it to be, I gotta do a scream, and everybody just loves it. It's fucking hilarious.
Is it like your kind of get out of jail? Like if things aren't going, I need to turn this around. I need to fix this. That's a good tip for singers out there. If it's not going, if you feel like it's maybe going off the rails or it's getting a little wonky and you need something to say that again, sorry.
And just let go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have that a guitar player, and I get to do, or I try to do like, backup vocals and stuff like that or whatever it is like that. And if there is any chance where I do get to scream and yell, I'm taking it, I'm doing it, or you just throw yourself into it and you have and that's the tricky thing for me is like I'm very emotional when it comes to music, I think, as we all are, but playing it on stage, it's like I need to have that balance of when I get on there, I need something to shake off the rust for like the first 3 songs. I need it to be, do you know what I mean? Like big, fast, this, boom, 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 1, 2, 3, punch. Yeah. And then we can slow it down, and then we can get a groove song going like that. I like to feel like that. I don't know. Do you have anything like that as a vocalist when you're on stage where you have like a thing that you're like, oh, this is what works for me, and this is how I like to direct the ship? Anything like that as far as technique or approach with that?
Typically, I can read the audience. and get a vibe of what's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
However, I like to experiment. Sometimes if the energy is really frantic, I decide, hey, this is going to be a head trip. I'm going to go up there and let's do something slow and melodic, and it's
Right.
like quieter. And then you kind of like take the whole room down, and people are like, wow, that was really powerful. Or you can go the other way. If a room is kind of dead already before I get up there, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this room up so hard. I'm gonna wait, you know. You kind of, after a while, after a number of years, you realize that the audience is composed of individuals and the entire entity, and you know, you get to play with matter in a way.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not always volume. People have a big problem with one of the reasons, bands frustrated me because, as you know, I'm doing my solo project, which is fun. But I've always been a band guy. I've never done a solo project.
Right.
But one of the things with bands is I feel like a lot of musicians in general, when they get into a band situation, for some reason feel that volume is the same thing as presence, but it's not. Because you can have, say, Martin Luther King go off on that same stage, maybe not even with amplification, and the words he speaks and the way he says them and delivers them and affects the crowd will have just as large an impact or larger than a shitty, super loud band.
Right. And it's about like what you're saying. What's the message?
What's the message? And I believe that it's almost like sorcery. I really do. It's like what is inside of you that's being pushed out.
You're absolutely right, because it's like the same thing with being in any kind of entertainment. When you're live, if you're a stand-up comedian, if you're a musician, and the challenges I've come across as a musician is when you feel the vibe in the room, so-and-so said something to me and it kind of just, threw me off a little bit. And okay, now I got to shrug that shit off.
Right.
And you get on stage and you're like, you need to do this sorcery, this channeling of, this is how I feel, therefore you're going to feel it too. And it's like, I mean, think of some of the things that are very inept with this stuff. Snakes, babies, and dogs. They all smell fear. They know when you're afraid. And the same thing is when you're on stage. They know when you're nervous. They know when you're afraid. If you're really good, which I think, not to toot my own horn, but I've had moments where it's the opposite, where I completely am inside going, fuck this, I hate this, I'm not comfortable. And then I watch footage or I hear people come up to me afterwards and they're like, that was great, that was awesome, that was flawless.
Right.
And you're like, wait, what? Were we at the same fucking show? And then you have to watch footage and go, oh, I know what I was feeling at that moment right there. Like you watch your face, you know what I mean? And then you're like, but it doesn't look that way. You know how to kind of almost maybe mask it or put up a wall.
Well, that's show business and entertainment.
Right. Yeah.
You have to, and I don't abide by that by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I go up there and it's almost like a trance, but
that's where you want to get to.
Yeah, and I think that's practice makes permanent, So, for instance, I've done my share of musical theater as well, and it's a whole another animal. But same thing that you're talking about is that the audience smells fear. So if you're not in the character, if you're not there, then you're fucked. You're gonna look like a hack.
Yeah.
Which is why I prefer high energy, positive, intriguing rock music. I'm not really to the screamo or the emo or the boo-hoo-hoo. Which is why I love Led Zeppelin, for instance. It's like, he was never crying. It's like, if his girlfriend left him, it's okay. He knows her sister too. It's like.
Well, I would argue with you a little bit on that. just because it does seem like well, maybe no, never mind. Because, I mean, it is a lot of baby stuff in Led Zeppelin. But he's kind of like, baby, baby, I'm going to leave you. Like, he's like, I'm out of here. Like,
Right. He's
You know?
gonna leave. He's
right,
never like, oh, I'm in so much pain.
right.
Even if he is, it's almost this victorious,
Right, yeah.
in the thumb of that pain. It's still, rocking.
Yeah. That's why I always loved Queen, was just look at the simplicity of, like, we will rock you.
Right.
We are the champions. And then everybody in the room is going, yeah, we are the champions. We're fucking awesome. You're awesome. I'm awesome.
Is there a sad Queen song? Like, is there actually a sad?
No.
Exactly.
I can't. No, I mean, like, they have their ballads, I guess, but it's all like a positive message.
Right.
It's this uplifting thing of, like, we kick ass, or like, even the show must go on. It's like, maybe things did suck, but we got to move on. We got.
That's what I'm
I
transcend.
love. Do you know Kev O'Brien?
Kev O'Brien. No.
Singer. He sings for the band Mechanical Roots. I had him on the show, and he had a great quote. I loved it. Was that it was adapt and overcome. And I like that. Roll with the punches, that kind of a type of thing.
Yeah. Keep going on. It's
Yeah.
like good versus evil, destruction versus creation.
Right. Yeah. And it is, I mean, with all this being said, as musicians and creative type of people, it is easy to fall into the throes of the negativity. It's super easy.
Look at the Rock This Spotify playlist right now, man. It's very negative. It's very pensive.
Like the kind of songs they have out there?
Yeah. It's like how can these the generation that, precedes us have, I don't even think that, we can relate to being born into a dying world where, basically, and I don't think it's true, but the way the media portrays everything's fucked up.
Yeah.
Everything's fucked up. We ruin the oceans. We're gonna nuke each other. The food, you can't eat it anymore.
Yep. It's all bad for you.
It's all bad. I wait for the time when I don't have a problem with people tattooing their faces. I think it's cool. It looks hard. I mean, I know hard people. I know, criminals, convicts, people that are really hard that don't have tattoos on their faces. But
right.
I can see how it's like a nihilistic, like, fuck it, I'm gonna have tattoo my face, And I would predict, maybe it's a little radical, but maybe after the tattooed face, it doesn't go the opposite direction to the wholesomeness. Who knows if some kids are gonna start cutting off pinkies? Look, man, I'm badass. They're gonna cut off my fucking pinky. It's part of this.
Everybody's just trying to one up each other as generations go along. That's right. You know what? It's like it's the same thing with music. The thing that I love to think about is, do you know the song "Rumble" by Link Ray?
No.
Yeah, you do. You know it. You just don't know you know it. It is. I will play a bit of it here real quick on my iPad because I don't think I'll do it justice right now. Actually, fuck that. Hold on. Let's see if I can do it with the guitar real quick. And if you can hear this, it's hey, I left my amp on. It's the song that goes
Oh, of course.
You know what I'm talking about? They use it in like Pulp Fiction. You know what
That's
I'm
an older song.
Yeah, and at the time they never wanted to play it on the radio because they were fear that people would hear it and it would it would inspire violence and people would start, robbing and looting and fighting, and it would just bring out this animal in them that they didn't want to introduce to the general public. So at first, when it came out, they did not want to put it on the radio because they were afraid it was going to cause violence.
Wow.
A simple, well, hold on, I'll show you. If you do, it's got to be a little fuzzy. Like, I'm a little out of tune, but just those two chords. They were like, nope,
Devil music.
Yeah. And then look where we're at now, with music. So even back then, it always boggles my mind that at that time, that was the hardest shit that anybody heard. You know, or like when Paul McCartney talks about, I learned this not that long ago, probably this year because of COVID, was that he heard what's the fucking what's the Who song?
My Generation.
It might have been My Generation. Yeah, I think he said he heard My Generation. God, I don't think it was My Generation. Anyway, for sake of argument, he heard a Who song that just came out and was like, this is the hardest fucking thing I've ever heard. And it inspired him to go, well, let me try to write something harder and crazier. And that was Helter Skelter.
Wow.
So, and at that time, yeah, that was the most, and what he was like, you know, they credit like a little precursor to the heavy metal, you know, Black Sabbath and all that stuff. And that's bananas to me.
You know, did you see the recent Paul McCartney interview where he's talking about how, because this is, we take everything for granted, and that's why music, you know, their music is like, I feel like the Beatles have to be number one.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But if you put the Beatles on after Led Zeppelin, I feel like Led Zeppelin would mop the floor with them in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The Beatles were number one, but what is so crazy is he's in this article he's talking about, we would hear about a guy across town who knew like the B7 chord. You know? And they would have to get on a bus and go across town and look for the fucking guy, and he'd show them the B7, and then they go home back all day. It took all day just to go figure out what chord.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's like that.
and no, and we don't appreciate. I try to do things like that in my life when it comes to music, or it comes, for instance, before COVID, when I would go to shows and concerts, and I just talked to somebody else who said they did the same thing, and I couldn't believe they told me they did this. And I don't know, maybe if you've ever done this, is you go to a concert, and the band gets on stage, and you're like, it's the Foo Fighters. And I snap a quick photo or two, try to get a good one. You know, boom, I got my photo. I saw the Foo Fighters. And then I put my phone away the rest of the show. You know what I mean? Just, I'm here to enjoy it. I'm glad I have technology to capture a really good photo with the technology we have. But when people are constantly on their phones or not appreciating stuff like that, it's like, I can maybe understand why you're in Palm Springs. You got to get out of LA, or you need to remove yourself for a little bit, or find.
I need nature, and I even tell myself I'm not gonna look at my phone in the morning. I'm so sick of phones, and I see everybody with the phones, and I get it. But I always wonder, like, every time there's all these people, say, even filming us performing, it's like, where does anyone ever actually go back and keep that shit? You know, it's like, what do they do with it?
I know. I mean, the only good news for us, though, is it at least can prove that we're doing something. Like you said, where back in the day, it was like, you know, or if it's like, if I moved to California from Ohio, it's like, I heard Michael's in LA, but that's all I know. Now they can know everything, and they can see, the Viper Room. They can see, you know, whatever. So there is a bonus to it. But I agree with you that I hate. I mean, I know, but I'd rather have people have their phones out now than just stare at you like they do in Los Angeles when you're playing a gig, because it's all musicians.
I don't mind the phones, man, but I think things have changed so radically.
Yeah.
You know, and anything that brings the whole world into your own living room, you know, is a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this. If you ask me a question, it was a Friday night at 9 p.m. instead of right now. You're like, well, where was John Lennon born? If it's a 3-day weekend, you know, 20 years ago, we got to wait till Tuesday to go to the library and check out the encyclopedia set. You know?
Yeah.
But I do feel like things are so different. For instance, there's this guy who I'm a big fan of, Perry Farrell.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome. Started Lollapalooza. Jane's Addiction, a lot of people don't know, was an 80s band with Guns N' Roses. You know? Well, he was, you know, he refused at their height to be on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't want to sell out. And nowadays, I mean, every musician they'll sell shoes if they get the right endorsement. You know, it's like it doesn't work like that anymore. So you have to have your phone. You got to put the stuff on Instagram and all the other social platforms.
Yeah.
That's the way of the trade now.
It's a
But
new tool that we pretty much have
it'd
to
be nice
use.
to-
There's got to be a rhythm. I'm trying to find that rhythm because I mean, like, I love doing this because I love talking with people and I love talking to, you. Like, I mean, you and I we've talked all the time. Anytime we've been at the Viper Room or we've been at like the Whiskey, or when we were at State Social House and, a big credit to you, sir, for those of you out there, if anything ever happens with my acting career and any reason that I've been pushed forward into more acting is because of you. Because when we met at the Viper Room, you're like, let me introduce you to this agency. And, I went in and they like accepted me. And that's when I started learning the rhythm and the ropes of auditioning as an actor.
Right.
And you and I would talk about acting. We would talk about music. We would talk about artists. We'd talk about the influence. And I've always liked that. Getting together with human beings and people and doing it because we just like to do it. And the old model was if we just wrote some good songs, someone's going to pick us up and our dreams are going to come true or whatever. And da 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 da. But now it's like we have to do so much more work for so little, whether it's getting a penny for 20 million Spotify plays, or, a penny for 1 million views on YouTube. And that's unfortunate, but it's just like kind of like what we have to do. And I'm trying to find that rhythm of like, how can I make this fun for me to where I'm not banging my head against the wall? And I'll give you, for instance, like, I agree. In one aspect, it's like I feel like people would want to show me your credits. Show me how many followers you have. Show me how many likes you have. Show me that you are sustainable and you work hard. I get that, if you want to be brought to the next level. So, for instance, like I try to break it down in my head as small as I can. I think on my Instagram right now, I'm at like 1958 followers, like something like that. And I go, you know what? Only a couple more until I get 1975. And then before I know it, it'll be I'll hit 2,000 followers. Do you see what I mean? Like, I just think of it how hard is that? Just think of it in a really small dose. Do a little bit every day. Now I sound like I'm talking about drugs. Just do a little bit every day.
That's how it all starts.
It's just a little bit. It's okay. But I do think it's kind of like a drug. You get addicted to it. I get addicted to it. And then I got to shut myself down. I got to be like, ugh. A couple years ago, my girlfriend and I at the time, we got robbed at gunpoint in Hollywood on Normandy, dude. You know Normandy. And it's not a good street, folks. Actually, it is on the rich side. We got robbed at gunpoint, took our phones, and I didn't have a phone for a week. And it was the greatest feeling ever. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Very liberating, man.
What's that say again?
It's liberating.
Yeah.
It's a little weird too. You feel like you're missing something for the first couple of days, right?
It is. Yeah, you have that fear of missing out for the first couple of days, but it's just like anything. You're just like, oh, I kind of kicked a little bit of a habit after 3 or 4 days, and then you're like, this is nice. I don't care.
Last time I lost my phone for I think it was, like roughly about a week. After like the third day, I was like, I'm not getting organic invitations. I'm finding myself in all these cool places still. Yeah. And none of it was a Facebook invite or instant message or any of that shit.
Right.
It was a trip. It's like, you don't really need it.
I like what you said about the library thing, about having to find out when John Lennon was born. We had to wait till Tuesday when the library opened. That was a great example. Because now it seems like we have too much time on our hands because everything is so instant. Everything is so fast. And my one little theory is I think that's why we are at the height as human beings of the biggest cases of anxiety disorders, because we're not built for this easy comfort, I think.
I couldn't agree more. Bro,
So your body just goes like, why am I feeling anxious? Because you didn't work all day. You didn't physically exert yourself the way generations after generations for thousands of years have done before us, to where you had to wake up at 5 a.m. and you went to bed when the sun went down and you were
yep,
dead tired because you
yep.
worked your ass off.
Shelter, food.
And that's kind of one of the things that was weird for me doing this show after everything with George Floyd and all the riots and stuff was I wanted to do my show about the creativity and the stuff. So I think I should still stick with that. You know what I mean? And go like, do I have to say anything? Not if I don't want to. But what I want to talk about is like, the world that we are living in, and just like talk to my buddies and go like, hey, you have a new song out. And one of the things that people could do for their good mental health is go sit in the park, put your headphones on, go to Spotify, and listen to your song like Your Paradise. And don't worry about, is it trending? Is it fall? Or is it this? No, just go listen to a song maybe.
Exactly.
Does anybody listen to songs anymore or listen to an album? Like, when's the last time you sat on your bed or laid on the floor, stared at the ceiling and listened to music?
I mean, I try to, I get what you're saying. I typically listen to, you'd be surprised what I listen to.
What's the oh, I know. And that's what I say it to myself all the time. I'm like, I wish I did that more, because I used to do that as a kid. You'd sit and lay back, whatever. What do you have any guilty pleasure songs or bands that you can tell anybody?
I don't listen to much. I have a cool playlist on my personal Spotify. It's like songs that I love, and it's all over the map.
Yeah.
But I usually listen to, if I'm cooking, I love to cook, or I don't listen to a lot of music. And if I do, it's either jazz.
Oh, wow.
Or a lot of Bob Marley.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And then
It sounds like it's like you're listening to shit that you don't do.
Grateful Dead.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm the same way. I'll listen to stuff that I don't normally play all the time.
Yeah,
we have to balance it out.
Which is why, like, when we used to do the Sunset Jam, and then, I lived in Vegas a couple years ago for the first time ever. I started working in that capacity, or the jams too. I never did covers ever, very, very rarely. And if I did, they were nothing like the original.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this song next week, or this song next week. And I was like, oh shit, I had no idea like the lyrics of this song or any of it. It's not something I attach myself to, really.
Right. I had that. I had that with like. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I like the non-confrontational music, man.
There you go. I like that for sure. I got into when we were working a lot. I would listen to podcasts, people talk, or just nothing, because when you do music as your job, then you need like something different. You need like a different hobby, or you need like a sport. You need something to kind of just balance it out. And that's what I like about, that's what I love about like acting and doing this shit, is because it's creative, but it's different. And then when I go back to pick up the guitar again, I feel refreshed and I'm not bogged down. Yeah.
Acting, like I said, we discussed, I got you into acting. I acted for a long time.
Right.
I had some success, but I don't like acting at all. It's not immediate enough. It's a million takes. It's just something. Musical theater, I loved that. I loved it. It was
right. Cool. Because you're also in front of the audience.
Yeah, I gotta have that live medium. Otherwise, it's just stale. It's just stale as fuck.
No, and I can't thank you enough, man, because you definitely lit a fire for me by that very just nice gesture of like, hey, will will this agency take me for an audition? And I had to go to an agency and audition to be a part of the agency. And had you not done that, because it's funny, I think we're like in a little bit of the opposite boat here. I fucking love acting. I have so much fun with it. I love just doing that stupid, silly shit. Because at the end of the day, we're just playing pretend. We're playing cops and robbers. I'm playing a part and everything. And I love it a lot. So I have a lot of fun with it. So I can't thank you enough for that, because that sent me in like a nice, good creative trajectory to where I just did a short film at the beginning of the year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. And
You're
it's
natural, man. You're a natural.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I have fun with it too. And I think if you just have fun with it and you go, I get to go in and go do this for like a couple of days or whatever like that. And it's just a part of, it's like you said, it's the same thing of being on stage. You have to play that part. And I have no time when I'm in front of the camera for an audition. Actually, auditions are fucking, auditions just suck. Acting auditions are just the worst. But when you do get the part, there's no time for fear. There's no time for anxiety. There's no time for second guessing yourself. And there's no time for me as Michael O'Grady. I'm not Michael O'Grady in this moment. I'm playing David. And David cares about this. And this is what David is worried about. So therefore, I'm worried about it. And I get to you get to kind of give yourself a break mentally. Do you know what I mean?
I totally do.
Yeah.
And for some people that works, but it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
The thing that did work though is you can make as much in a day as you make in a year in acting, which is the good thing of that part of the entertainment industry.
Yeah, if you sneak that, if you get that really great part or whatever like that, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, I've had auditions where they have me sing and dance and jump through hoops and fucking get the job, and there's nothing even remotely close to what you did in the audition to
Yeah.
you. And I've had days where you literally just sit around and eat all day, and they have you do one thing and you're done. You just got paid all this money, man. For me, the entertainment industry, like I grew up in it. So my mom was a model.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I was a child actor. I was in the choir. I was in musical theater. I was an athlete, which is, I think athletes and rock stars are the same. You have a cool costume, outfit, and you perform in front of people. And you have to be at your best at all times.
Right. Yeah. That's wow. You're right. Absolutely.
And they both pay the most. And another interesting is kind of a key to life if you think about it. What other two professions do they use the word play to describe your work? You play the show.
You have to run a play.
Yeah, like for instance.
You mean like in football when you have to run a play, right?
Or it's a football game. Even the highest level of athlete, they're playing football. They're not working football. Led Zeppelin, they're playing a song. They're not working.
Right. I see what you mean. Yeah. Wow.
They're the two highest paying professions.
And with that being said, and this thing that I need to work on, and this is probably why I like acting so much, is because I probably should have tried to go be an actor first, but maybe the scales would have tipped. You ever notice like actors want to be musicians want to be actors?
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's because, like you said, it's play. And I've met a lot of people who take this so seriously. I mean, I do. We all do, whether you're a musician or an actor. But for me, mentally, I have to take the piss out of it and not get so serious in my head when I'm going to like go on an acting audition or, whatever. I'm like, it's fucking silly. We're playing pretend. So just have some it's a game.
It's great actor.
I'm like, I don't care. I didn't get the part. You don't think I'm good? Fuck you. I don't care. You have to be like, I don't care.
I hate that shit.
I love it. The thing you hate about it is the reason why I love it is because it out of my control, and it's what is it about that? I know what you mean, that it's like there's that you're like, oh, that's so annoying, and it's because it is annoying and it makes no sense. That's what makes me happy about it. Therefore,
Yeah.
do you see what I'm saying? I kind of
Yeah,
go,
it's kind of
oh,
the art of motorcycle riding or maintenance. You know, it's very zen.
yeah. Yeah, and it's like I kind of go, well, it doesn't matter. This is fucking stupid anyway. So why would I let it bother me?
I
And
couldn't do
I understand. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm saying this now, but like, trust me, I've gone in on auditions where I went on, dude, last year, last fall, 2019, I went and auditioned for Young and the Restless.
I did that once.
I was so fucking terrified. I have never been that scared in my life. Maybe skydiving, but it's neck and neck. Because I had to go in, and here's the thing: I had to go play a song on acoustic guitar and sing, and I had to do, I think it was 4 pages, and I never did anything like that. But the great thing about those kind of things is I pushed myself to go and do it because of doing that, that was so scary. When I got hired to do the short film was like a walk in the park.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like I kind of built up this great, oh, I did that. I can do anything.
For me, it's like, you know, when I hear, it's like when I do my thing, I want to hear that clapping. I want to hear that yeah.
Right.
I want to hear that. And if I don't, then something's wrong. Something didn't happen that was supposed to happen. And you know what? It happens when I do it every time because I've been doing this my entire life. You know, I used to be afraid of audiences, and now I'm just like, these guys are so lucky. I'm so lucky. We're gonna have such a great night tonight. You know,
We're together. Yeah.
And acting, it's like, you know, it's very to the chest, to the vest. You know, you go in there, and even they'll be like, okay, act like a rock star. It's like, what the fuck? I've had a lot of people come up and tell me, hey man, you are a rock star, you know, it's a great compliment. I love that.
Right, yeah.
Myself. Next thing you know, they're telling me to act like a rock star, and I don't get the part because I don't know how to act like a fucking rock star, you know?
It's 2 totally different things, actually. You're right. It's weird. That shit, I think that's the part I'm definitely with you on that. I don't like trying to act like a musician because acting like a musician and being a musician are 2 different things. And that's where I think an actor would beat us out because they're an actor, you know?
Exactly.
And I hate jumping around in a room in front of a camera like I'm on stage when I'm not on stage. I do hate that.
Oh, I hate that shit, man.
That is so, I don't, but at the same time too is I think it's because we play music. That's where it hits home because it's different. It's our brain goes, no, this isn't how it's supposed to be. This isn't normal. There's no people, there's no clapping. You're not feeling the energy because it's some dude who looks like Dave that, you know, is like, okay, what's your name? Look at the camera and go. And that's all you, and you're like,
deflation.
yeah, a little, yeah. That's exactly what it is. Real quick, because I don't want to hold you up for too long.
I thought we were gonna do this till midnight.
What's that?
I thought we were gonna do this until midnight.
Yeah, no, midnight, no, 12 p.m. the next day. I wanted to ask about the Velvet Revolver audition.
Okay.
Bring it in. Let's hear it. What
Okay.
happened?
Let's see. You want me to just like take you through the whole thing, or?
Yeah, because I didn't know about this. I've known you for a couple of years now. I don't think I ever knew about this. And if I did, I apologize. I'm an idiot.
It's okay. I don't blast it.
There you go.
I've had a few others like it that big, but I legally couldn't say, but they didn't have me sign anything, and I don't blast it anyway. So.
Right.
I got the call, and it was right before I started doing covers, actually, about 3 or 4 years ago, like that, the final before they give up, you know.
Yeah.
And so I had 2 weeks to learn Sucker Train Blues and Fall to Pieces, a couple others. And the hardest part for me has always been the lyrics, man. I can't do either. I learn them or I don't. So I spent a lot of time studying those lyrics.
They
Then
already had lyrics written.
it was covering their songs.
Right.
So,
Right. Because you're gonna go, but when they're like looking for the singer for Velvet Revolver, you're going in and Fall to Pieces and like Sucker Train Blues. Those were already written lyric wise and melody.
yeah, Scott was already out of the band.
Oh, I see. Okay. Wait, hold on. This is post Scott Weiland?
Post.
Oh, I thought this was when they were starting the band. Sorry, I didn't catch that part.
It was only like maybe 5 years ago, 6 years
Oh,
ago.
okay, gotcha. All right, now I'm with you. Okay, now this is making more sense.
Okay.
Timeline fucked me up for a second.
So Velvet Revolver, I know that album only because I was living that album. I was living with this insane high-end escort girl, and she had all the money in the world, and I was just, couch surfing, and the wind blew me there, and there was tons of drugs. I don't do drugs anymore, but she gave me her sports car, brand new sports car, and that's right when this album was just like crushing, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm living this shit,
Yeah.
But that's all I knew. I didn't really know it. And like, when you study your songs, there's a lot more than meets the eye when you're actually learning this material. So I learned the material, and I went in there, and I think I got pretty stoned right before I got in there. And we did the songs, and it was pretty surreal, actually, because I just remember that was one point where I didn't have, I totally let go, which I always do. It's like it's just something I was born with. When I go, I go. There was a moment in between all of that where I kind of looked around and I was like, dude, soak in this moment.
Right.
Make sure you really soak in this moment, because there's millions of people that were killed just for this moment alone. And
Yeah.
it was surreal to be standing next to Slash and Duff and on the rest of the guys, Nat and Dave.
Yeah.
And playing those songs with those guys was a trip, man.
So you walk in there and you're like, "Hey, I'm Brett. I'm here to audition." And they're like, "Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Come on up to the stage." Was it like at one of the lockouts around town here? Like,
It was at Mates. That's another thing. It was at Mates. I was like, these guys fucking. I mean, I like Mates. I like Mates, but
the Cleon room, the big one.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know that. I think they call it the Velvet Revolver room now.
Okay.
Like a nickname. I've rehearsed in there a bunch. Yeah.
And I always just thought it would be more like SIR's big room,
Right, I know what you mean. Yeah, but that's all carpet and shit. That's annoying, isn't it?
They were down to earth, cool motherfuckers.
Yeah. And you walk in. Are they talking to you for a little bit, or did you just go, "Hey, you guys want to play the song?"
I can't really remember. It was pretty casual. Duff, I remember Duff being the most gracious and the most friendly and the nicest, and Matt, who I know, to help me get the job, get me the audition.
Right. So you go in there, you do the 2 songs, and they're like, "All right, man, thanks for." Oh, 4 songs. Okay. What were the other 2?
Slither.
Oh, of course. Duh.
I'm like, that's what happened. He's like, what do you want to do first? I'm like, let's do Slither. He's like, one Slither coming up, Slash. And I was like, that's funny. I can't remember the 4th song. I remember it was fucking loud as fuck. That was one thing for sure.
Really?
I have a pet peeve for me. I don't need it to be super, 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 super loud.
Right.
I was surprised.
They rock it really loud?
They rocked it hard, man. I liked it. I didn't mind it, but
that's fucking. Yeah, that's fucking cool, though. I mean, still, like you said, just to go in there and go, "Hey, I'm gonna go jam with these guys, 4 songs," and that's that's the right attitude to have, is soak up this moment and enjoy the moment that we're in right now when you're in a scary situation. And I think for a lot of us, if you're a good performer like you are, you rise to that occasion and go, check this shit out. Even if I don't get this, you're still gonna be like, hey, that was cool.
It was just like that, man. It was a
Yeah.
great jam. Everybody was stoked. I mean, the spirit of rock and roll clearly is in them, and the spirit of rock
Yeah.
clearly is in me, or they wouldn't have me in. And a lot of guys didn't get that gig. A lot of great singers.
Right.
So nobody got that gig.
Yeah. Because they didn't. Then they did. Then they went. Then we got Guns N' Roses in like what 2016.
Yeah, they went back to.
Yeah, they probably were like, okay, this is not gonna work or whatever after a while. I don't know. And that's the thing. I mean, because like, um, I learned this about like with acting is that I can't tell you how many stories I've heard where they go, you know, how'd you get involved with this project? And they go, well, because I auditioned for them years ago.
Yeah.
I went to audition for something else and they picked me for something else. You know what I mean? Like that kind of type. So you go in there and they could at least remember and be like, oh yeah, that's right. You did. You know what I mean? Like just those little things that, you know, and like you said, great singers also came in audition and they didn't get it and they had different plans.
They had different plans. I think Slash had a real clear idea of what he wanted. I don't know if you've done Matt Fuller yet, a podcast.
No, not yet.
You should. He's got a great Puddle of Mud, how he got that gig.
I know that story. I know that story because he told me it, and he told it on Jude Gold's No Guitar Is Safe podcast.
Okay.
But if I have him on, I'll make him tell it on this one for sure because it's really fucking funny.
I got a gig one time. It was when I actually, look, I used to be hardcore, man. I hitchhiked across this country and up and down to Seattle 100 times, man.
Damn.
I mean,
yeah, you're a rock star.
I couch surfed for 5, 6, 7 years, man. And there wasn't a drug I wouldn't take. There wasn't anything I wouldn't drink. I would. That was my lifestyle, for real. I was always getting in trouble.
Right.
And then I was living, coincidentally enough, you were with the Daniel Hoff agency. She's now one of my best friends. The theatrical agent at the time. I was living on her couch for 2 years. It was supposed to be a week because I broke up with my girlfriend who was an actress at the time. It was supposed to be a week, and I ended up on her couch for 2 years. Okay? And when I say on her couch, that was like I'd go there once or twice a week and then just disappear and sleep wherever. As long as I had my guitar and there was always, and I could sing, there was always a place for me. You know, people
right.
always. But 2 years went by, and my agent got me my first real job. And when I say real job, I had booked a couple national commercials.
Mm-hmm.
But I was fucked up. You know, I was hungover, coming off of drugs when I went and did it. Well, I got my first real job through her. Speaking of crazy auditions, they were looking for a singer in Canada, and it was this musical. And I had to sing, and they were desperate, and I had to sing to the director over the phone. And they booked me. And I was a miscreant at the time, man. And I'll never forget, I wanted to stay. I didn't want the job. I wanted to go back to Venice and hang out with the homies and skate and play guitar.
Right.
And just be a bum. And I'll never forget turning around looking at my agent and being like, what the fuck? What am I going to do? I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
And I got there, and it was life-changing. I walked in, and all these musical theaters are tight click, especially up in Canada. Right. They all have like stretchy pants and tennis shoes, and I walked in my cowboy boots and my blue jeans. And they had their music books. I didn't know how to read music, and everyone's like, "You don't know how to read music?" And am I talking your head off when you hear this story?
No, keep going. I'm listening.
Okay.
The tricky thing with the Zoom calls is that if I keep speaking while you're speaking, it flips and it clicks too much. So if I'm being quiet, it's because I'm being careful.
Okay.
Because technology, you know.
Well, I went in there basically a druggie, and you know, I would wake up and drink the Jack or the vodka out of the freezer. I mean, it was like I did a lot of hardcore drugs. Nobody really even knew, but I mean, I was sleeping wherever. Anyway, I went up there and I didn't know shit, and there was like 85 songs. I never done anything this professional in my life, but then I saw they gave me my own hotel room, they gave me my own rental car, they gave me like $1,700 a month. I mean, a week.
Oh,
You
there
know,
you go. Wow.
living in Canada. So coming off the streets, basically, I was literally living on the streets and on couches. And I got this opportunity, and everything kind of changed. And I realized when I got my first check, because you get your checks when rehearsals start.
Yeah.
I saw this money, and I saw this hotel room was all mine, and coming and living homeless. And I had to rent a car. And I was like, oh, I could do this. I could get used to this shit. So I studied very, 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 very hard for this thing for the 2 weeks of rehearsals. And at the end, it was the greatest experience of my life. And because of that experience, became a professional. You know?
Wow.
And then I'll never forget the day after the opening show, I was going down the elevator. And all the kids hated me in a way already. The kids, I was the outsider. They piped me up, I'm a California kid. They fired their Canadian friend and hired me. I tried so hard to be liked.
That needs to be in a show, just like that kind of a scene where the rock and roll homeless rock star shows up and disrupts the whole order of
That's what
the musical theater clique, where they're like, who is this man? Oh my God, he's peeing in the corner. Like,
dude, I had a hotel fire the first week there. So that the morning after, so matinees are the worst because that's the only morning you have. Other than that, that's another thing. I got to sleep till 1 p.m. and then just wait for that show.
yeah.
That morning, after 2 weeks of rehearsals and then opening night, on my way down to the hotel, I was chumming with the concierge, the hotel manager. As I'm going to our first matinee, he says, Brett, he says, he got the paper. He goes, you got a great review. So I drive to the thing, and all these kids have to take buses or share cars, and nobody got a rental car, so they hated me.
Oh, I see. Okay, there's that. Yeah.
And then I got my own dressing room, and they all had to share a dressing room. So
Oh
it was
man,
like,
you were like the kids' coach. You're like the kid, and they're like, man, fuck.
it was so alienating, and I didn't want that.
Right.
So I run into
Like,
their
what am I
dressing
gonna say? No.
Exactly. I run into their dressing room, and I say, right before the curtain, it's Sunday morning at 10.
Yeah.
It's probably like 10 till 10. They're all putting their makeup on. Say, you guys, we got a great review. So they run out right before curtain to get the paper at the gas station across the street from the theater. I didn't read the review. And what he was trying to tell me was, you got a great review.
Oh.
They mentioned only me in the review, and I look like an even bigger asshole than ever, dude.
You're thinking you like this cast, us, and you come in going, hey guys.
We got a great review. Yeah, and that kind of spoiled everything.
Oh, that's really funny. Oh, that's just a funny story then, right there.
That was a good one. All right.
So fucking good, man. No, this is great, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show and being part of Michael O'Grady and the Creatives, episode 12 with Brett Copeland and everything.
I'm glad to be a part of it. I appreciate you asking me. Like I said, I think that you're going to be a very successful actor. I hope you're taking classes and studying constantly.
Yeah, I've been, no, thank you, man. I appreciate it. You're definitely, funny enough that you say, I won't go into all of it. We'll wrap this up here soon. I'll talk to you about this another time. That's I think how I first got started was when I was in high school. Was I knew all the drama kids, a lot of those, that was the drama club, right? And I was in band. And so a lot of the band kids were also in drama club. And 1 year, my sophomore year, they go, Oh my God, wouldn't O'Grady be perfect for a part in this year's play, the spring musical? And they're like, yeah, yeah. And I remember them all being like, oh my God, yeah, 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 you should audition. And I'm like, what is it? And they're like, it's the devil. And I go, okay. It's
Doesn't
it's a
seem like
what's that?
it doesn't seem like you.
You know what's funny though is I get this because I'm a good actor, Brett. I know how to not act like the dork that I really am or whatever like that. And I think also too when I was younger, I was, you know, you got to remember like I have a kid now. I got to act a little bit more, adult or whatever, not like a fucking idiot. And I've definitely been an idiot all my life. But uh I went in an audition and the guy was like, "Yeah, okay. You're perfect." I think and that's one of those things where I didn't have an expectation for it and I couldn't play a part. I really was essentially being me. I was doing my mannerisms, I move my face around a lot when I talk or whatever. And I kind of, knew inherently like he was just like this. It's the play, it's called Damn Yankees.
Oh yeah.
And so you don't know he's the devil. It's just like he's implied that he's the devil. It's kind of like the devil's advocate, not at any point. I don't think Al Pacino they don't ever say he's the devil. We just know he is. Does that make sense? We have the context or the subtext.
Movie, man. I've never
What's
seen
that?
it. I've never seen it. Now you ruined the movie for me.
No, that's not. No, you know that. No. Wait, have you really never seen Devil's Advocate? It's a good movie. It's a great movie. It's really good. But no, that's what, and I fell in love with doing that. I don't like, I never liked musical theater. I didn't grow up with that, but I liked playing a part. I guess it goes to that thing where it's like you go, that doesn't seem like you. That's why I think I liked it a lot because I'm not
Cool.
this guy. So it's always fun to play the devil or the douchebag or the crazy person as opposed to playing the straight man. You like playing the odd. It's fun to play the oddball. It's fun to always be, it's what would you rather be, Han Solo or Luke Skywalker?
Han Solo.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But we need Luke Skywalker. So
Yeah.
anyway, but no. So thank you, man, and thank you for the kind words and to hopefully be a successful actor one day, and then I'll buy you a car and all that shit. Whatever. I mean, whatever. And we'll make some music together again soon. But for everybody out there, go check out Brett Copeland. Follow him on Instagram, follow him on Spotify, like him on Facebook, listen to the songs. I've been fortunate enough to play with him live on these songs, and they're just fucking bangers. They're rock and roll, and they're just great songs. And, good luck with everything going on out in Palm Springs, and keep working on more of your music and, get it out there for us to listen to. And hopefully we'll get to play a live show together again, brother.
I hope so, bro. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. All right, everybody. That's it. We're out of here. See ya.
Peace.